Hey you all, so I know you can't see my face, but it is what it is. We're gonna get this video done. So I just got out of the clinicals and something just popped in my head. You know, we as nurses, as healthcare professionals, whatever you do, really any type of career that you're in, you need to stay humble. Now, I know some people sometimes get triggered by this word. They feel like humble means being timid or like not really, I don't know. I guess they think that being humble means that you're small and you're passive, and that is not the case at all. The reason why I say that you need to remain humble as a nurse is because there are so many freaking mistakes that people make. People make a lot of mistakes in healthcare. There's a lot of reasons why. It could be that it looks like a mistake, but it's really not. That's one thing. You're like, oh, they did this wrong, but really something else happened, or it just looks like it was wrong, but it wasn't. Or people are busy. People don't know when to ask for help. People, like, I remember a nurse told me that she was in a room with a patient and there was like a cold or something. Like something happened where she had to run out of the room. Like she just had to run. And she ended up leaving, like she had some medicine for another patient. And but she was giving that patient their medication. So she ended up leaving the container of meds for the other patient on a whole other patient's bedside table. And that patient, not knowing, they went ahead and took the pills. Now, I don't know what transpired after that. I was a very, very brand new nurse, so I didn't really like dive deep into like, oh, this happened, and this happened, and this happened. But I'm sure it wasn't the best of outcomes, you know, because who knows what they were taking. They might have been taking blood pressure pills. They might have been taking a whole bunch of pills that could have caused some issues for the patient. Now, yes, she screwed up. She made a big freaking mistake. She could have made a fatal mistake. I don't know. Like I said, I was a new nurse, so I wasn't really in the loop of what was going on, for real. But you could sit here and you could dog that nurse out. So you could be like, oh, who would do that? All you had to do was just put the pills in your pocket, like da-da-da-da-da, and it could have waited. Or why would you even pre-pop all of those pills? You're not even supposed to do that. Da-da-da-da-da-da. Like, you could come up with all these different things criticizing this nurse for what they did or did not do. But, honey, please believe that we all make mistakes. We all have busy days. We all do things that we think is the right thing to do, but it's the wrong thing to do. So here's another thing. I remember, and I posted a picture about this, but honestly, like, growing and maturing more as a nurse, like, I probably should never posted this picture, but I just wanted to show y'all, like, what's wrong with this picture. So a nurse, I remember going into a patient's room and they had an IV antibiotic. So I was getting ready to, do the IV antibiotic, and I noticed that there was an IV bag already hanging, which is nothing new. That's what nurses do. They'll keep the old bag hanging, and you have to come and take it down and put the new bag in, right? But the tubing is still good because it can last like 72 hours. Okay, yada, yada, yada. So I'm looking at the IV bag, and I'm like, something's not right here, because there's still liquid in the bag. No, there was no liquid in the bag, but the medication was still in the vial. So I was like, they just gave this patient normal saline. Like, they didn't give them any of the antibiotic. They didn't break the little part where you break it, the little blue part. I know it's probably different colors at all different pharmacies, but they didn't break it. They didn't reconstitute the antibiotic and put it into the actual bag. They just gave them the bag of normal saline. Now, I don't know what happened. I don't know if the nurse was rushing. I don't know if they thought they did it and they didn't do it. I don't know. I don't even know if they even knew what they were doing. But I know it wasn't right. And I did take a picture of it, and I was like, yeah, what's going on? Please let me know what is the problem here, right? Just being a little kiki, right? But I don't know the situation. I could have been like super like, yeah, look at this stupid nurse. Why she do this? Why she do that? Da, 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 da. And maybe in my more immature like nurse B phase, I might have done that. Right? I didn't do it at that situation, but I was just like, come on now, y'all. Like, we know how to give IV medications, don't we? But some people don't. And I'm sure there's things that I may have done or a way that I may have charted where somebody would be like, why would she put that in the chart? Or why would she do this that way? Or why would she leave this here? Like, this is crazy. Like, you don't do that, right? So you can sit here and criticize people, and you can be that nurse who comes on the shift, and the entire shift, you're talking trash about every nurse, every CNA. All you're doing is pointing out, see, they didn't do this, see, they didn't do that, see, this is what happens, I got to come behind them and do this, I got to do this, I got to do that. You could be that nurse, and you can be in that state of mind where you feel like everything you do is perfect, and you don't make no mistakes, and you're good, and everybody around you is incompetent. But best believe you're going to be a busy nurse. You're going to be a nurse that makes a mistake. You're going to be a nurse that thinks that you're doing something right and you don't. Or you're going to be that nurse that's spending so much time and energy pointing out the flaws in others that you don't even realize what you're doing wrong. And you could be killing a patient. You could be negligent because you're over here talking all this trash. You think that it's not going to happen, you all, but the energy that you're pushing onto somebody else and saying what somebody else is or isn't doing, right? You are missing so many things. If you just come in and be like, oh yeah, I don't know why I did that way, but whatever, and you focus on you, your patient will be in a lot better state. Trust and believe that, because the time and energy you push on other people, you are taking away from what you could be doing for your patient. I know it sounds like, like, oh no, I still do what I got to do, but I know they doing stuff wrong. I still do what I have to do. And you might feel that way, but I'm telling you, we all make mistakes, and you don't want to be that nurse who's so far up on their high horse that when you make a mistake, it might be fatal. We don't know. Or you've been bashing so many people that when you make a mistake, nobody comes to bat for you. Nobody comes to bat for you, because this whole time, either you've been throwing people under the bus, or you dog out everybody at every chance, that when you make a mistake, people be like, they're waiting for you to make a mistake. And we are all human. So sometimes managers, they're so biased. If they know you're the one that's always complaining and always doing that and always snitching on people and always of course, have safe care, do what you got to do. But sometimes, in nursing, we got to have each other's back, because like I said, we're busy. Stuff happens. Things happen that you just forget, or you just don't know. And you could have made a mistake and somebody didn't even tell you that it was an issue. They went ahead and took care of it. Okay? I've been in patients' rooms and I found a needle in their room because the nurse forgot to take it out the room. They were probably busy and they put it on the bed or something and they didn't take it out the room. Stuff like that happens. And you can sit here and be like, why would you? Of course you would never leave a dirty needle. It was capped, like it was the safety thing was on there. You would never do that. Oh my gosh, like that's so horrible. But things happen. Stuff happens. And you have to realize that. So that's why I say remain humble, because I try to remain humble, because even though I do be like, now they know they need to be doing it. Like, this is ridiculous. Like, I be having my little moments and I got to pull myself back, because I'm like, you know what, girl? This ain't my job. I'm just an agency nurse. I'm here to help out and leave. Okay, I know it's a hot mess. They know it's a hot mess. Let's get in, get out, and just keep it pushing. Like, that's how I be sometimes. But I also just try to remain humble and be understanding, because if I make a mistake, and I know I will, I want somebody to have grace and to have some compassion towards me and be like, hey, this is what happened. This is what happened. I did this for your patient, or I did this. Or even if I'm so busy running my mouth and I forget to do something, or I'm running late on something, like it's so much better to be humble. It's so much better to be humble, because you're more open to criticism. You're more open to growth. People, you're more approachable. People can approach you more with certain things. You're more teachable when you're humble. You have a growth mindset when you're humble. And people are just like, they're more willing to work with you. And I know people are like, oh, well, I got my degree, or this and the third. Like, I'm this, I'm that. Like, I don't need you. Like, I'm good. Let me get my bag and go. But you all, we are people, okay? And people, these relationships that we're building with each other is very, very important. Nursing is so small. You never know Where you're going to see that nurse, where you're going to see your classmate a year from now, 5 years from now, 10 years from now, when you're looking to do something. You might be like, well, I'm going to own my own this, I'm going to do all that. You still never know when you're going to find that person or when that person's going to cross paths with you and you're going to need them. Okay? It might not even be them. You might need to collaborate with somebody that they know. And because you was being such a bitch, they're like, don't work with them. That person, you cannot deal with them. They're not, you can't deal with them. So you just put yourself, like, try your best to just have, just be amicable. I'm not saying that you have to not have confidence. You can't stand up for yourself. I'm not saying be super timid and just be like, oh, it's fine. Speak up for yourself. Speak up for the people around you. Have boundaries, have respect for yourself, have respect for others, but also be professional, be humble when you're around people. It will take you so freaking far in this career. And the reason why I thought about this is because I was talking to one of my professors, and I was, telling her, I told her before I want to become a nurse educator, and she's kind of just been giving me little things to think about. And she was saying, like, just make sure that you're cool with these people, because if you want to come back here and teach one day, like, just keep in mind that these teachers that you have right now, they could very well be in management positions and be one of those teachers that will either, make a decision to hire you or not. And she wasn't saying it from like, girl, you one of those students, so you need to get it together if you want to teach her. She wasn't saying it like that. At least I don't think she was. But she was just saying, always keep that in mind, that this field is very small. And I was like, you're right. It's so small. And I remember another professor told me that too. She was like, it's so small. You want to get references and referrals and all this, and people know people. Everybody knows somebody that knows somebody that knows somebody. So always keep that in mind when you're doing anything. Remain humble, remain professional. And if you have to call people out on stuff, there's nothing wrong with calling people out on stuff, but there's always a way to do it. I remember my mama told me this when I was growing. That's why I love my mother, because she's very diplomatic person. She said, Brandy, you can say anything you want to say, but it's all about how you say it. She said, you can say anything you want to say. I'm telling you, baby, but it's all about how you say it to people. That's all it is. You can criticize a person, or you can say things need to be done this way, but it's all about how you present it to people, because people have egos. People are people. People have egos. Let's just keep that in mind. You can go to somebody and be like, well, I don't like the way you did this. Or you can say, when you did this is how I took it. And I'm not sure if that's the right way to be taking it, or maybe you meant something else, but I just want to know if we can maybe clear that up. That's one way to do it. Or you can go to somebody and be like, look, when you say that, that's not how you talk to me, okay? I don't do disrespect. There's a difference in how you come to people. Because if you come to them correct, they have no choice but to come to you correct. And when they come to you sideways, you can be like, well, I'm just trying to clear this up, because I understand at the end of the day, both of us are focused on taking care of our clients, taking care of our patients, and having a very, secure, stable, friendly work environment. I want to make sure we have that together. I want to make sure that we're doing what we need to do to take care of our patients. That's all I care about right now. And I know that's what you care about too. So is there a way we can come to some type of, agreement? Whatever, right? So if you remain in that space of being humble, of being professional, you will always be on top. You won't be going from job to job. And if you do because you want to leave that job, okay. And not everybody can adhere to this, because not everybody is willing to switch on and off. I totally understand that. Not everybody has the gift, because it really is a gift, to switch on and off. Some people are just straight shooters. Like, this is what it is. Like, if you got a problem with it, I don't know what to tell you. And, that is what it is. You still have your place in nursing. But just know that everybody has a boss. Everybody has to work with people. Even if you're the boss, you still have to have people under you, honey. Or you still have to collaborate with other people. You have to be able to deal with people. You have to. That's no different with nursing. It's like number one, because it's customer service based. So that same customer service has to be extended to your coworkers, to your teachers, even to people who you consider to be under you. Still have that same sense of, because you just never know where people are going to end up. And it's not even about like just be nice to people because one day you're going to need them, but just be nice to people. It makes things work so much better. I'm telling you, oh my gosh, it makes life so much easier. Like, I don't like to have strife with people. Like, it gives me anxiety. I really honestly like to have harmony, because if there's no harmony, then I cannot deal with you. Because if I have a problem with you, like for real, either I'm going to avoid you, or I'm going to have to be like, look, we got to clear the air. We have to clear the air. I don't like, putting up I hate having my walls up around people. I really don't like doing that, because I like to be free. So does anybody else feel that way? Like, I like to be free. So when I have to put my walls up around you, like, it cages me in. It does nothing to you because you're still living your best life, right? It cages me in putting my walls up to you and being this mean, aggressive, like rah personality. Like, the job itself is already stressful AF. So let's just try to get along. Even if you don't jive with that person, just don't even really be around them like that. Be cordial. That's fine. That's totally fine. But back to what I originally said. Remain humble. You never know when you're going to make a mistake, and somebody's going to have to be like, oh no, Brandy, she's always doing this. She's always doing that. She had to have just made a mistake. Like, I know how she is, And that's why it's always good to be that person who tries to follow the rules as much as possible. And my professor drilled this into our heads too. She's like, just do things the way it needs to be done, so that if something were to happen, it's basically like your reputation precedes itself. And they're like, no, there's no way. Like, something had to have happened if this mistake was made. Because I hate to be corrected. I don't like people to correct me. Okay, that's something that I have to work on. I don't like being corrected. So I try to always come correct. But I also try to remain humble, so that if I am corrected, it's like, oh, okay, that's fine. Like, I feel like when you put yourself on such a high horse, it's so hard for you to come off that horse and be like, okay, I'll walk now. I'll walk. But if you're already walking and somebody's like, hey, I need you to slow down a little bit, you can slow down. But if you riding on your horse out there in the wilderness, doing your own thing, it's going to take a lot for you to get off that horse and start walking. So if you have to come down because somebody's saying like, hey, you need to work on this, or you made a mistake with this, it's so much easier to be like, I can see how I made a mistake, or I don't really know if I made a mistake, but you know what? Going forward, I really want to work on make sure I don't do that anymore. Whatever. You're already down there. And I know people will see like being humble as like you littling yourself. But really at the end of the day, it's just you understanding that you're human, you're not perfect, and that there's always room for growth. And that is so important in this field, is to understand that there's always room for growth. We can always do better. We can always be of better service to others. Especially because of the cards we've been dealt in this healthcare field, this healthcare arena. There's, a lot of things are stacked against us. But I just wanted to put that out there. I hope somebody found that helpful. I love you all. I appreciate you all. Make sure you like, comment. So this video got long. All right, y'all. Peace.